Hey there, Jim Gavigan, Industrial Insight. And today I have with me Paul Sheremeto from Pattern Discovery Technology. And we're talking about a subject that's near and dear to both of our hearts, and that's data quality. And I think we're at a really interesting point in time right now where people are starting to pay attention that this actually is an important topic and I need to do something with it. And I think in a lot of ways, it's a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people. And maybe Paul has some tools and techniques that might really be interesting to people. So let's kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of like why is this even important right now?
Well, it's a good question. We, as I mentioned, we've been in the data analytics business for quite some time. Certainly, well before big data was known as big data, and today, what we're seeing is the emphasis on being able to utilize that data most effectively, especially as it relates to advanced pattern recognition, things like machine learning or artificial intelligence are becoming much more popular in terms of the ability to improve the productivity and processes. But the challenge remains that introducing or have problems with the data that's going in, the end of the day, you're going to wind up with garbage that's going to be coming out. So any of the data that you're looking at storing in the data historian, if you're using these in downstream applications like machine learning or artificial intelligence, you are going to have a problem associated with getting the right kind of information out of those systems. So we set out from that point in time, starting in about early 2018, we started to redevelop our analysis engine. And so version 3.0, which we've just released this month, is a brand new analysis engine that optimizes the relationship between data fidelity and data storage. So it works very effectively on both overcompressed and undercompressed tags, and it does it automatically. So we'll make automatic recommendations for compression that will serve both of those conditions.
Yeah, because you look at the challenges, I'm glad, as we were rehearsing through what we're going to talk about today, really we wanted to outline what are the main challenges that we see with our customers. Time was a big one, right? It was really labor intensive. And even I used the 2.0 and did a lot of manual compression adjustments. And you're right, it was time consuming. It was better because at least I could do something scientifically. I could look at, here's what they're archiving, play around with the compression settings or play around with the target fidelity, and it would give me a nice recommendation that then I could push down. But still it took time. As you've kind of pointed out, is we've had these systems have been around a long time, and some companies may have had 4, 5, up 7, 10 PI administrators over several acquisitions and divestitures and all that. So everything's kind of gotten changed. There's a lot of the people now that may be managing PI system really maybe haven't been trained, or it's, one of 3 or 4 jobs they hold. So, hey, somebody needs a new PI tag. I cut and paste it, boom. Okay. You got data on process book. Yep. Okay. Good deal. I'm done. So there's no real thought process to the, how things are done. So you have all these inheritance issues. You have a lot less education, a lot less time. So you have all these challenges to get the data fidelity right, and not nearly enough hours in the day to be able to do it, or education to be able to do it. So I think that's why you're in a great spot here. And really both of us, we're both in the analytics space. We're trying to help customers solve problems, and we need good data to do that. So I think, this is a really, kind of interesting, new release that you've got. And this is what prompted us to actually try to do these educational videos.
Yeah. So when you looked at, again, mentioned these problems that we had when we were doing the analytic exercises for our customers in Western Canada, the red line here is what we actually saw. That was coming out of the PI system, and we knew, from talking with the process engineers involved in the system, is that that wasn't a great reflection of what was really truly happening with the original process. And so when you turn exception off, as you said, you create what is called what we have here as the black line, which is the raw snapshot values. And so there's got to be there's a balance between collecting too much data, which would be, you know, the raw snapshots, or not enough data, which is representative of the red line here in what is going to the archive. And that is all as a result of getting the compression settings right. Really, it becomes important that we be able to recreate as much of the original information as possible, but with a balance of trying to get it right so that we're not collecting too much information, i.e. raw snapshots, or not enough information as is evidenced on this graph. So that's what we set out to do. That's what CompressionInsight is all about, to develop create the right balance between the amount of data that the volume of data that we're actually collecting, and the fidelity of this data that is actually being captured. Happening as well, Jim, with IIoT is that you're actually seeing that this issue of using default settings is going to become more predominant. No doubt. So they will set the defaults in the relays, as an example, or in the data hub, and that will be, it won't effectively do the original signal justice because of all the challenges that you talked about earlier. So I think using this system, CompressionInsight, to get it right, to get IIoT strategies right from the get-go, is really feed all of the signals through CompressionInsight as a matter of course, and allow the data to drive the decisions on where those settings need to be.
So, you know, literally people, you know, and then people are like, well, networks aren't a problem, data storage isn't a problem. Well, here's the thing, as a business owner and someone who doesn't want to host anything like any of my own things, I've looked at AWS and Azure and stuff like that. Guess what? You get paid. The more you put on there, the more your price goes up. So you start thinking about, and then you think about, well, 5G and, you know, all these really high speed networks, and, you know, it's going to make the bandwidth no problem. And we can store all the data in the cloud. Yeah, but there's still a cost, you know, and this cost just goes exponential. So I think this is a really important topic for anyone who's thinking about anything with IIoT, any kind of advanced analytics. This is a really kind of a critical thing that most people just walk right on by and don't think about, what is this going to cost me down the road, either in the ability to do my analysis or the cost that it's going to cost me to actually store the data or push the data where I want it to go.